All right.
Long road trip back.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got stuck on the tarmac for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we were on the plane for about 8.5 hours. You know, it
No
seemed
Wi-Fi?
like no Wi-Fi.
What'd you do?
Sat there, watched the film a couple times, and then started working on Rutgers.
There's got to be a story on that with that kind of a
I
plane.
wish there was. There wasn't. Like, we were just kind of sitting there, and at first I kind of fell asleep, and I woke up, and we were still sitting there. And the door was wide open. I was in the front. It was freezing. Yeah, it was. And they ran out of de-icing fluid, so they had to wait for another truck to come. And how you run out of de-icing fluid in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, because I know it's cold there a lot. But yeah, so our guys just kind of, I don't know, they were probably all sleeping on the back of the plane or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it was a 5.5 hour flight, so we were on that plane for about 8.5 hours.
You've got
Thank God we won.
Yeah, it'd been a lot worse if you hadn't won.
Oh yeah.
But tell me about you. Sounds like you've got stuff going through the team health-wise.
Yeah, we did. Even before, I think it might have been even before we played Ohio State. A couple of our guys, I don't know if it's a viral deal. We thought they had pink eye, but it wasn't. But I actually got it right now, so it trickles down. But yeah, they all kind of had some colds, going into that trip. Great missed, I think, both days of practice after the Ohio State game. He came down with the flu, so he didn't do anything Thursday or Friday, and just played the game on Saturday. And so just one of those things. Every team's going through it. There's no reason to complain about it. Nobody feels sorry for you, so just got to get through it, which our guys did.
What we saw, Frank, that's the best he's been in a long time.
It was awesome, yeah.
Is it unreasonable to expect that from him every night?
I mean, probably. Like, he was terrific. Like, his energy and activity. When he's playing like that, he's a difference maker, because he's really hard to score on around the rim. And I think even Penn State, some of those guys were shocked how fast he jumps and gets up there to block some of those shots. Because a couple of when I watched him on film, like, I don't know how he got to him, but he's fast. He's so explosive when he jumps. Because those guys trying to dunk it, they're explosive too. And so, yeah, he just, and he made some great shots. He had a big jump hook against their zone that we needed. Had some drop off dunks to him. And when he's doing that, we're a totally different team. And you can see, when he's playing like that, if we don't have him, we don't win that game. And so we need that, Frank.
The last month, Tyler Harris, and I think it's fair to say he really turned things around, playing more aggressively. It seems like here lately, Makai Mason's doing the same thing. What's the difference with Makai right now? Yeah,
and I think you can throw DJ into that mix too. If you look at all those guys in conference now, like, they're shooting really good percentages. Tyler, he really got it going from that 3-game stretch. He was terrific. And even last game, he's been playing. He's been shooting the ball with a lot of confidence, and it's opened up the spacing for everybody. And Makai, like, he's aggressive, and when he's doing that and imposing his will on the game, he's a completely different player. If he's just kind of out there, freewheeling and doing like, that's not the Makai we need. Like, we need the one that's going to the rim, coming off staggers, ready to shoot the ball. And being aggressive, looking for his shot, because he's capable of doing what he's done the last 3-4 games. And then when he's doing that, he's a lot more aggressive defensively too. And so, one of the underrated parts of Makai's game is, like, he's actually one of our best ball screen players. Decision makers, like, coming off ball screens, he's a really good passer. And so, like, getting him in those positions, getting him aggressive enough coming off those, makes him pretty hard to guard. But we needed all 6 of Makai's threes.
With Zoom not in at the end of the game, and I know turnovers have been an issue, how do you get him to cut down on turnovers while maintaining the aggressiveness?
Yeah, just kind of a learning experience for, like, a lot of these young guys, him, Jace, these guys, like, Ace Baldwin, it's hard to even dribble when he's guarding you. He's one of the best defenders that I've played against in my 20 whatever years coaching. Like he's that good. I mean, I was watching him in front of me and how fast his hands were and how aggressive he was. I mean, that's why he was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. But it's a great lesson for our young guys. Like, yeah, you got to learn to dribble. Like, you got to keep that thing low, and you better protect it. And once you do get by them, you're still not safe because, the way Penn State plays, jumping passing lanes, you got to be on point with all your passing. And I'm not talking just about Zoom, like everybody, but referring to Zoom, yeah, that's just one thing he's got to, get better at. In conference, his assisted turnovers is pretty much 1-to-1, whereas a point guard used to be 2, 3-to-1, in our system. And so he's getting better, and like I said, I don't think it hasn't taken away from his aggressiveness, and I don't mind him making aggressive turnovers. Like we need him to be aggressive, whether it's driving down the lane to score or to make a play for other guys. And so, the only time I'm going to get, down on any of our guys when they make an unaggressive turnover or just a bad footwork or just throw the ball out of bounds.
Hey, with great and just that game that he had. Did you know how close he was to the triple double? And just your sort of thoughts on, or maybe even getting like the first one in like Husky history.
I didn't know. Like I knew he had a lot of rebounds because it seemed like for a while there he was the only one rebounding. Yeah. And like I didn't know he had that many assists. But like I've said it all year, like he should have had a bunch of games with 10 assists. He's done that a bunch. We just haven't made shots. We're making shots now, and that's why you're seeing him with 10 assists. The way they came and doubled him, he hit the backside. He had some phenomenal passes, and it's we need it because those are the shots that DJ, Mackay, and Tyler, they're getting step-in threes because the way teams are guarding great. And so they need to take advantage of that, which they are. And I think that's why they're shooting a lot higher percentage. And he's doing a much better job, like, delivering them good passes, not bounce passes at their ankles. Early in conference, like against UCLA, like, we had a bunch of sloppy turnovers when teams were doubling him. And he's gotten much better with that. And our guards are making him pay.
After a 10 assist game, do you think it'll change the double teams that he sees?
No. Team, they're still gonna come get him, just like every team has this whole year. Yeah, they're still gonna come get him, and they're still gonna dare us to make shots, and which is great because I think our guys are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and as we just mentioned earlier, DJ's starting to shoot the ball at a high level now. Mackay's shooting the ball at a high level. Tyler's shooting the ball at a high level. Wilhelm, percentage-wise, he always makes 1 or 2 a game, and, so now we have, a lot of threats out there where, like the first half against, Nebraska, we scored 47. I don't know how many we scored we scored 41 in the second half against, Penn State, against a really good defensive team, that puts a lot of pressure on you. And so, we're some of the shots, tough shot. Mackay made a couple tough shots too, but that's what good guards at this level do.
I think I heard you say it on the broadcast, like the case for great in terms of all Big Ten. I mean, there's only 15 guys who like make that. What would be the case for him? I mean, he's a stat stuffer. There's one note in there about he's doing things that we just haven't seen, like from like that size of a player. What would be the case for him?
Yeah, I think when you look at kind of the pressure that he's played under this year and with a lot of different lineups, like he hasn't had Big Frank to have his back. He's had to play a lot of 5, which in this league is hard. We were not shooting the ball very well. I think he'd be one of the, he wouldn't lead the league in assists, but he'd be in the top 7 or 8 in the league in assists if we were making shots. You look at since the Michigan State game, he's been phenomenal. He was just okay against Ohio State. And like I said, I know he probably listens to this and he probably won't agree, but he wasn't himself. I knew there was something wrong with him. His energy was completely off. Like he looked dead tired. And then obviously the next morning he's got the flu, And so I think he had a little bit of that even before he went into the Ohio State game. He just didn't say anything. But really, every single game we played, he's the marked man on the scouting report. Teams are packing the paint. And for him to still average whatever 16 and 9.5 in Big Ten play is pretty damn impressive. And he's second, or he was leading the league in steals for a while. He's in the top 3 or 4 in rebounding, probably in the top 20 in scoring. And if he was making free throws, I mean, he might be averaging 19 and 9.
And just want to get your thoughts on DJ Davis and his free throw shooting and kind of this, he's made 30 in a row, hasn't missed this.
I don't believe in that jinx either, so you can say that. Yeah,
Okay, right.
I
was just
he's
about
too
to ask
good of
you
a
that.
shooter, yeah.
Right. So, is that something that as a team, do you talk to him about? Do you kid him about it? Do you not say anything?
No, I usually don't say much about free throws. I just want guys to get in the gym and work on it, because I think if they go and work on it, they'll have the confidence to make them. Because sometimes when guys aren't making them, they put too much pressure on themselves, and then they're already beat before they go up to the free throw line. DJ did he lead the nation in free throw shooting last year? He led the nation in percent. He missed like 2 all year or something.
Missed 5.
5? Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's not a player in the country I want more at the free throw line than. And I'm glad we have him, because it's helped us seal a couple games here lately.
Then so for you guys though, I think he's 45 of 49.
Yep.
But he's only 5th on the teams in terms of taking free throws. Last year he was 95 of 100.
Mm-hmm.
Should he take more free throws? And how can you get him to the line? It seems that's money that's kind of being left on the floor there.
It is, yeah, for whatever reason, he hasn't gotten fouled as much this year. I'd have to go back and watch a lot of his stuff from last year. Now we haven't had the lead late in a ton of games either, where teams are having to foul us until recently. And so, a lot of times that's when guys can kind of get 4 to 6 free throws at the end of those games when teams have to foul us, where we haven't been in that position much this year. But yeah, I don't know why. Obviously. He had, probably half the attempts he had last year.
You go back to the Washington State game, the Seattle U game.
But actually, we still got like 6 games left, too. So, even if you can get to that 75, 80 mark.
Or 8 games.
8 games left?
I said or.
8, 9, I don't even know. Like, even in the Mountain West, I stopped. Like, when I was at Montana State, I knew I could tell you October 15th, I could tell you every single game. I knew. In the Mountain West and the Big Ten, I didn't even know. I asked Jenna the other day. I was like, I knew we played Rutgers next. That's all I knew. And then she sent me a text like, we're leaving to Iowa. And I was like, we're leaving to Iowa on Thursday? And she goes, yeah, that's like who we play. I had no idea. And I'm like, man, we're not even home yet. And I'm just watching film on Rutgers. And now we're leaving Thursday to go to Iowa. And so if you do that in this league, like, it demoralizes your confidence. It really does. Like, if you look too far ahead, it's just brutal, And so I know we have to go to Iowa, and I know Wisconsin's on that trip too. So after that, I don't know.
Again, going back to the Washington State Seattle U, which probably was a low point of the season. Can you talk a little bit about what's transpired to get to the point where you're at now? I know it's a new system, new players. Is it more a matter of getting used to your system, getting used to being in Seattle? What's the biggest change that you've seen since those 2 games?
Yeah, it was still. We're still in that kind of molding phase, back then. Like, we played well against, Washington State, and, it's not an excuse against, Seattle U. We had 1 post guy. Nobody wants to talk about that. We had great. That's it. Wilhelm was out. Frank was out, and so, and like I said, I'm not taking anything away. Like, Seattle U played their butts off. They shot it well. They played harder than us. Like, they did what they had to do to win. But, like, that's the truth too. Like, we didn't have a lot of depth at that point, and for whatever reason, we didn't play with a ton of confidence that game. Like, we had open shots, the shots that we've been making at a really high level lately, which has helped us win some of these games, especially on the road in the Big Ten. Like, you can't go in there and shoot 4 for 25 like we were early in the season from 3. Now we're starting to kind of find our groove a little bit, and it's fun to see these guys, like it's like every team though. When you're making shots, you have a little more joy, you have a little more pep in your step. Guys are talking more and showing more emotion. Which, as hard as these guys work and as much pressure as they're under, like, you have to have fun playing. Like, leave the stressful stuff to us coaches, but, like, I want these guys to go have fun on the court and play for each other.
Maybe give us a little bit of a preview of Wednesday's game against Rutgers.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, they're a very, physical, tough-minded team. They have 2 of the top 5 draft picks in the upcoming NBA draft. You watch, and I just started watching them. Like I said on the plane, I haven't seen talent like that. Like the Harper kid and Ace Bailey. You can see why they're projected. Could be possible number 1 picks. Like the things that they can do, just their raw talent is crazy. And they got some good players around them. They're like us a little bit, where I think our stats are a little bit deceiving. Like our win-loss record's a little bit deceiving. Like on any given night, they could go beat anybody in our league. Especially if those 2 get hot, because they have some other guys that can really step up and bite you, that can knock down threes and play with toughness. They're athletes. And so, no, it's going to be and it's a huge game in the standings. Like they know it, we know it. Like it's it seems like every game here for the past 4 or 5 games has been like a Super Bowl for us. Like we've had to win, and whether it's for tiebreaker purposes to get into the Big Ten tournament to give ourselves a chance, it's these. All you want to do is make the next game bigger, and we've done that recently. And like I said, this is it's a very, very important game. Does it shut the door on either one of us? No, but it is a crucial game for both of us.
Is it surprising at all that they're just 12-14? Even though they'll have maybe 2 of the top 3 players in this draft. And does that say something about college basketball and trying to win with freshmen? Husky fans will remember 2 first-round draft picks, and that did not sort of get what they wanted it to.
No question. And it shows how good the Big Ten is. Like it's really hard for freshmen to come in and impact winning. And even though, like, if you look across the country, this year is one of the best freshman classes in a long time. From Cooper Flagg to these 2. There's a bunch, that are Zoom is contributing, really well for a freshman. And so it's hard, especially when you're playing against, like, there's still some COVID kids playing right now. There's 25-year-olds. I think I saw a stat on, I think it was Auburn. I think they're older than the Oklahoma City Thunder or something like that. They're comparing them somehow. They have like a lot of 23, 24, 25-year-olds. No? Yeah. Now, first off, they're really good anyways. They were probably really good when they were 21 too, but like that experience, it helps you so much. When you have guys that have played in the Big Ten for 3-4 years compared to a 18-year-old, just from a physicality, your body, your maturity, your experiences going through things, handling failure, the travel, all that stuff's different. And that's what makes it remarkable what, not just what their 2 freshmen are doing, but, Zoom, Cooper Flagg, like a bunch of these guys that are contributing at a high level. But there's a reason, like Calipari said, they don't recruit high school much anymore. Like you can't, he had 2 top 5 draft picks last year, I think. Well, the Reed Shepherd, I can't remember, the kid that went to Minnesota, and they lose to Oakland in the NCAA tournament. Oakland was old. And so it's just, that's the times, that we live in, and, it's you definitely need that experience in this league. I know that.
Yeah. At 13-12, 4-10 in the conference, you guys still control your own fate. Is that maybe refreshing, or can you sort of wrap your arms around that part that, like, hey guys, regardless of everything else that's happened this year, we can still finish top 7 in
could,
the
yeah.
conference. And then from there, I mean, the NCAA tournament sort of not out. I mean, so is that still kind of refreshing to like have all of that still on your plate?
It is, and that's what you want in mid-February. Like all you want is just to give yourself a chance, to get there. Now you got to go take it. Nobody's going to give us anything. But it is refreshing because probably 3 weeks ago, like stuff looked pretty grim. Even though as a coach, like I knew what I was watching, and I kept telling the guys, like, if we keep doing this, trust me, like you'll be rewarded with some wins. Because you could see us getting better and better, and I mentioned like the Purdue game, the Illinois game, UCLA, at Oregon. Those were games that in December we'd have lost by 30. We really would have, and those games all came down to the last 45 seconds, and a couple plays here and there, and you never know how it turns out. So, but we were giving ourselves a chance, and I knew we were getting better, and then it just comes down to breaking through like the Minnesota win. Then they see it and feel it. And now hopefully it just keeps trickling down. And when those games get tight, we have that belief that we're going to pull it out, or we're going to get that big defensive stop, or somebody's going to make a shot. Somebody's going to get fouled or get a steal, like DJ did and get the and one the other day. And that's what I'm most proud of. As their coach, like a lot of teams would have packed it in. Especially with a bunch of new guys, season's not going well. They had every reason in the world to kind of just go out and play, and they didn't. They actually, we actually became closer, during that month of January.
Oh, and just have to ask you the weekly question on Dom and even sort of Louis. Have you had a chance to resolve that or sort of figure out what you're going to do there?
Not really. I'm gonna meet with Louis, probably at some point this week. He won't be back, for sure for the Rutgers game. And then Dom, nothing new. Probably not this season. The way it's looking, right now, and just getting integrated. I wouldn't expect him to play because it'd be too risky. I mean, this late in the season to kind of burn a red shirt. I don't know if it's fair to the program or the kid.
And I haven't asked about Chris Conway in a while. How's his rehab coming along? Is he practicing? Is he doing anything yet?
No, he's not doing anything. Yeah, he just kind of stands on the side like he has all year. I wish I had more, but it's too bad. It's too bad because he's a really good kid, and that's a kid we don't talk about as much. We talk about losing Frank, but. I mean, you're talking about a 6'10", 6'11" kid that can shoot the ball, is really skilled, can pick and pop. Would have gave us a lot of depth, like when Wilhelm, gets nicked up or injured. Like it's just another athletic body that could have really helped us this year.
All right, that's